Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the 2020 IAJF Gala, celebrating IAJF's impact and 19 years of service. My name is Stephen Kadavi, and I'm the president of the IAJF. This is our first and hopefully our last virtual gala. Although we can't all be together in person, we have an incredible event for you tonight. You will laugh, you will cry, you will be moved, you will have hope for the future, and you will be proud to see all that IAJF has accomplished with your help. You may have noticed something different about IAJF recently. We were pleased to roll out a brand new logo just this past month. The new logo captures our Jewish and Persian roots and reflects both our history and our future. Complemented by our tagline, Empowering Lives Together, the logo evokes our unwavering devotion to Israel and our community, the hallmark of IAJF's work and mission. This beautiful logo was designed by Elian Cohen, a member of IAJF's Young Professionals. Before we begin, I have to take a moment to address the pandemic. Over 250,000 Americans have died from COVID, and 1.3 million people have died worldwide. Our hearts go out to them and their families. As is the case with any tragedy, many brave individuals stood up to help others during this crisis. I'd like to recognize and thank the local frontline workers that made personal sacrifices for the good of all. The healthcare workers you see on the screen have been tireless in their efforts to help those in need. They have our sincere gratitude. I don't need to remind everyone of the hardships of 2020. Quarantines, stay-at-home orders, sheltering in place, being unable to see loved ones on a regular basis, the inability to share festive occasions with family, having to do Zoom seders during Passover, and most recently, virtual Thanksgiving dinners. But while the world stopped, IAJF did not. We immediately recognized that people were in trouble and took action. Tonight, we celebrate the power of giving. This year, more than any other, the contributions we made impacted and strengthened our community. The pandemic deepened the distress of those already in need, introduced new hardships, isolated the most vulnerable, and brought illness and distress to the entire community. IAJF's COVID-19 community response directly addressed these concerns. IAJF distributed thousands of masks to community members and local charities. We provided prepared food and groceries for the hungry and elderly, including holiday meals. We supported local businesses and hospital workers by providing hundreds of lunches and dinners to local hospitals. We did all of this while also maintaining our support for Israel. We supported over 80 organizations in Israel this year, bettering the lives of thousands of people, including immigrants, seniors, IDF soldiers, the disabled, children, and first responders. In total, between local support in Israel, we contributed over $5 million this year. That, my friends, is the power of giving. I'm also very proud to announce that we are about to launch IAJF's largest and most ambitious project yet, a 300-unit housing complex for Holocaust survivors and needy seniors in Netanya, being done in conjunction with UJA and Amigur. IAJF also tried to fill the personal voids created by having to shelter in place. We hosted a number of virtual programs on topics ranging from healthcare to real estate to issues of local concern. The programming was educational and a source of comfort and reassurance for the community during these times of uncertainty. As you all know, IAJF takes seriously its responsibilities to our donors. We extensively diligence every organization that we provide funding to, including by making personal visits. Unfortunately, we were unable to do so this year, but rest assured that the board ensures that the funds we provide to organizations are utilized as intended. Our board members and our staff work hard to further our mission, and I want to give our sincere thanks to each of them. I also want to recognize Lynn Mayer-Drury for her tireless efforts on behalf of the organization, as well as Tova Levine. And so let me now take this first opportunity to those of you watching to consider making a contribution right now to IAJF. Or if you have already made one, please consider increasing your contribution now. You can do so either by calling or texting the numbers on your screen or by donating online. What better way to let the world know, and all of those watching right now, that you can make a difference and support the power of giving. With that, I am pleased to introduce our first guest speaker. It has become a tradition at our galas for our audience to be greeted by the Consul General of Israel in New York. The pandemic will not stop that from happening this year. Despite the alarming rise in COVID cases in New York right now, Acting Consul General Israel Nitzan has come down to our studio tonight to address all of us. Under Israel Nitzan's guidance, the Consulate General of Israel in New York develops and maintains relations with national, state, and local community organizations and elected officials on behalf of the State of Israel. Prior to this position, Israel served at the Israeli Embassy in Cairo as spokesperson and later returned as the Deputy Chief of Mission. From 2012 until 2015, he served as the Minister Counsel for Public Affairs at the Permanent Mission of Israel to the United Nations. I'm happy to welcome to the stage, at a safe social distance, our dear friend, the new Acting Consul General of Israel, Israel Nitzan.
Thank you, Stephen. It's a great pleasure to join you this evening and keep the tradition going, although in a socially distant manner. I have to say, though it's great being here with you virtually, I'd much rather see you all in person, as we have in past years at the annual IAJF Gala. As the saying goes, Leshana Haba at Lincoln Center. It's been said before, these are trying and unprecedented times. I'd like to add to that and say the strength of your community and your commitment towards helping so many, both in New York and in Israel, are remarkable and should be commended. We are all familiar with your remarkable efforts in New York. In Israel, the IAJF has committed itself in so many arenas, all to strengthen the special bond between the Iranian American Jewish community and the people in Israel. You have provided scholarships for educational opportunities, supporting rehabilitation centers for the disabled, availed homes for lone soldiers, and provided financial aid to victims of terror and those in need. This is only a partial list attesting to the leadership of the IAJF. But it's not just leadership. From the dedication of your board members to the activities of your young leadership, it's a leadership based on Jewish values and Jewish solidarity. IAJF activities in both Israel and New York prove repeatedly that the IAJF is the embodiment of Kol Yisrael Aravim Ze Bazeh. All of Israel are responsible for one another. Thank you again for the opportunity to celebrate with you in your annual event, and I wish you all a good evening. And now I understand that we will be watching a video on the power of giving.
We are living through unprecedented global events. To protect our health and safety, we had to isolate ourselves from others. As we have left our schools, our offices, and our synagogues to lead more isolated lives, we have come to rediscover the power within us. Inspired by our many recipients and donors, we take this opportunity to shine a spotlight on the power of giving. When the pandemic hit, IDF soldiers were tasked with not only defending the front lines, but also protecting the home front. When they step up, we step up. Through FIDF's Horizon program, we can make sure that these combat soldiers can pursue a higher education, and through that, achieve their dreams and better the future of Israeli society.
Hi, my name is Becky. I'm a sergeant and combat lone soldier from Los Angeles. I serve in the Home Front Command in the Kedem Battalion in the Search and Rescue Unit. Our mission is Atzalat Chaim, which is to save lives. When COVID-19 broke out, the IDF jumped into action. My team and I distributed food packages to elderly people who were alone in their homes and didn't have anyone to help them. We're going up the stairs because there's no elevator there. we knocked on the door, and she just opened the door and she just started crying. It was just the first time where I said, okay, I know I'm doing something good. As I complete my Army service as a combat soldier, I'll be receiving the FIDF's Horizon Scholarship sponsored by IAJF. Another example of how we take care of each other.
The IDF is the army of the people. Soldiers come from different backgrounds, some with complicated financial problems at home. At the end of their IDF service, we open doors for the soldiers wherever possible. FIDF's Horizon program allows them to better integrate into society. This is how we create social mobility, and it is of great importance.
Ken. My name is Daniel, I'm 26, I'm married and I have a cute daughter. Elaneli, almost 2 years old. I served as a combat soldier, and after my service I received FIDF's Horizon Scholarship and went on to study for an MBA. As for now, I work as a security guard for the Jerusalem Light Rail, but I really aim for management. Thanks to FIDF Horizon program, I was able to do the first step in my professional career. It's important for me to promise a bright future for my family. My dad left home when I was a teenager, and I promised myself to be a better father to my children.
Good evening, IAJF, and Shalom from Israel. My name is Corporal Carmel, and I'm from the IDF Ensemble. First, I would like to thank all of you for supporting us soldiers. It is amazing to see how your community is caring for our well-being and investing in our future. Your support gives us strength, knowing that even a global pandemic cannot break our spirits. Toda Rabba. This next song is called Yachad, meaning together. It was recorded during lockdown. It reinforces the message of hope as soldiers send messages to their families and their loved ones from IDF bases across Israel. Even though we are apart, on base, in our homes, in Israel, in Great Neck, or in the US, we are still and always will be together. On behalf of the brave IDF soldiers, I dedicate this special song to you, IAJF community. You have always been together with us. Thank you.
יחד, כולנו יחד, כל הדרך. עוד נדע ימים טובים אלה, עוד נדע ימים טובים פי אלף. שורשינו יעמיקו סלע כמו ארצים בהר. עוד נדע ימים טובים אלה, עוד נמתיק מיטב של ים המלח. כשדה ירוק אחר השלג, כאשת בלב מדבר. יחד, כל הדרך יחד, לא אחרת, יד ביד נושיט לטוב שעוד יבוא, עוד יבוא. יחד, כל הדרך יחד, לא אחרת, יחד היא שלי שיפתח את לבבו. חכים לחים, לא זרו, חכים לחים, לא ננוח מן המצר, ים פתוח, כמים רבים ניסר. חכים לחים, עדיין נצליח, חכים לחים, עדיין נגיע בימים של שר מרקיע, יש תמיד ניבר. יחד, כל הדרך יחד, לא אחרת, יד ביד נושיט לטוב שעוד יבוא, עוד יבוא. יחד, כל הדרך יחד, לא אחרת, יחד היא שלי שיפתח את לבבו. יחד, כל הדרך יחד, לא אחרת, יד ביד אבי שלי שיפתח את לבבו.
Thank you, Carmel and the IDF Ensemble, for a moving, uplifting, and inspiring performance. It was beautiful to see all the soldiers come together through song, even if they could not be together in person. Thank you for connecting the IDF soldiers and their families with us here tonight. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to shift to the studio on the other side of the country in Los Angeles, where IAJF Chairman Shahram Yaghubzadeh is. Shahram has been the heart and soul of IAJF since its inception and is responsible for getting the IAJF to where it is today. He is truly the epitome of class and dignity, and I'm proud to call him both my friend and my mentor. Shahram, over to you.
Thank you, Stephen, and good evening. As you know, we had a change of leadership at the beginning of the year when Robert Cohen finished 5 years of service as president and turned over the helm to our youngest president yet, Stephen Khadavi. We are grateful to Robert for having taken his role as president very seriously and contributing many hours each and every day to running IAJF. I have rarely seen anyone as dedicated, conscientious as Robert. He personally oversaw every little detail and paid personal attention to every task. During his term, the organization grew and reached new highs. I am personally indebted to him to have rescued me from this job that I did prior to him for 12 years. For all that he has done, the Board of Trustees recognized Robert this past January by dedicating in his honor the new IVF surgical unit at Barzilai Medical Center in Ashkelon. However, due to the coronavirus pandemic, we were not able to formally show our gratitude for his service until now. Here's the plaque that was installed in his honor at the entrance of the unit. Robert, I congratulate you and hope you and Simone can visit Israel soon with your family and personally see the plaque. Now about our new president, Stephen Khadavi, who is the man of many talents. He joined IAJF in 2007. Our community got to know and love him as the MC at our annual galas for many years. Stephen served as an active board member, as the secretary, then later as vice president, and as of January of this year, he was elected our new president. Soon after he stepped into his new role, he had to deal with the challenges of COVID-19. In addition to his concern for his own family, he dedicated many hours of making sure that the members of our community that needed help received it quickly and with dignity. He did all of that while managing his law practice from home and going through a merger with another law firm. This, for sure, was not an easy first year as a president. However, he maintained his calm, applied his wisdom, and managed the tasks perfectly. Stephen, thank you for your commitment and tireless efforts on behalf of our community. We will now move on to the next segment of our program, which I'm sure you're all excited about, the success in the Middle East. 2020 will be described in history books as one of the toughest years. However, amid these tough times, a few good things happened too. One that took the attention of the world and made all of us extremely happy was signing of the Abraham Accords, which brought about peace between Israel and two Arab Gulf states, United Arab Emirates and the Kingdom of Bahrain, and soon after with Sudan. I need to emphasize that this was culmination of years of behind-the-scenes work by many people from both sides. Of course, this peace could not have happened without the bold and courageous steps taken by the leaders of these countries and the support and encouragement of the United States. Tonight, we are very fortunate to have the expert on the subject as our honored guest, His Excellency Youssef Al-Otaiba, Ambassador of the United Arab Emirates to the United States since 2008. Ambassador Al-Otaiba increased military and intelligence and counterterrorism cooperation between UAE and the United States and solidified the UAE's position as the US's largest trading partner in the Middle East and North Africa. Ambassador Al-Otaiba steers the UAE's significant commitment to philanthropic activities in the US and has promoted inclusion and religious tolerance worldwide. In recognition of his loyal service to the UAE, he was promoted to the rank of minister in 2017. As you will notice from his fully American accent, he is Western educated. He's a graduate of Cairo American College, Georgetown University, and Industrial College of U.S. Armed Forces as an international fellow. Dear friends, it's a great honor to welcome His Excellency Yusuf Al-Otaiba. Mr. Ambassador, the screen is yours.
Thank you, Shahram, for that kind introduction. Good evening, everyone. It's an honor to speak to the IAJF. 2 months ago, I had the privilege of attending the signing of the Abraham Accords at the White House. It was a historic occasion that will create a more stable, peaceful, and hopeful Middle East region. A vision has been set by the leaders of these countries. It is now up to all of us in government and the private sector to make it a successful reality. We need to create a better future together. I'm proud to report that since the agreement was signed, there has been a significant amount of cooperation between the UAE and Israel. The first flight from Tel Aviv to Abu Dhabi landed on August 31st, and Saudi Arabia graciously opened its airspace for all future commercial flights. Emirates and Etihad have announced regular service to Israel beginning next spring, and Fly Dubai is already providing this service as we speak. We continue to host exchanges of scientists, executives, students, academic experts, religious leaders, and tourists. Together, we will seek healthcare treatments and cures, reliable food and water supplies, and increased standards of living for ourselves and everyone across the region. For example, the Weizmann Institute of Science announced an agreement to cooperate on AI research with the Mohammed bin Zayed University of Artificial Intelligence. We expect a host of other similar joint ventures in virtually every sector going forward. As more trade is conducted and more investment is executed, the relationship will only grow. More business means more people-to-people connections, more understanding, and ultimately more shared interests. Israel and the UAE will open their economies to one another, allowing goods, services, and investment to flow across our borders. The prospect of trade and commerce between Israel and the UAE is exciting for both countries, two of the most innovative and advanced economies in the world. Our two young countries also share common values with the United States when it comes to entrepreneurship and investing in education and people. Beyond the obvious economic opportunities, I am most excited about the personal connections that are going to form as a result of these agreements. We're going to see a generation of young people who are working together to address the challenges of tomorrow. And whether it's healthcare, agriculture, conservation, or technology, the UAE and Israel are going to be at the forefront of this work in our region. When people get to know one another, conflict is reduced, shared prosperity is increased, and peace becomes reality. One of the things I'm most proud of is that we're building an Abrahamic family house in Abu Dhabi. It will house a church, a mosque, and a synagogue, and it'll be a place where people can worship together. We are proud of our diverse population with people from all different faiths and backgrounds living together side by side. The Abrahamic family house is just another symbol of the shared values we all hold dear. We cannot take this moment for granted. Opportunity is knocking, and we must open the door. I hope you and your family stay safe and healthy during this challenging time, and I look forward to the day in the near future where we can all visit the UAE together in person. Thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador Al-Otaiba, for your inspiring message and for the important role you have played in bringing peace and uniting nations. I'm a strong believer in our ability to do tikkun olam, repairing the world. This year, we saw the power of believing and how we can impact lives and make the world a better place. Now we shift from politics to medicine. Please turn your attention to the next video presentation.
Hadassah Ein Kerem Hospital in Jerusalem has been at the center of Israel's response to the COVID-19 outbreak. The medical team understands what is at stake, and they believe in the power to heal. Two vital contributions were made to the hospital by the IAJF: an equipped operation room and an IDF security suite in memory of Rebbe and Shamsi Abiri. In response to the pandemic, the IAJF security suite was transformed into a center of coronavirus testing.
Dearest friends at IAJF, your room has become the epicenter of corona testing. This room enables our staff to go on day after day, saving lives.
The coronavirus is a challenging enemy, and we apply our expertise as intensive care physicians with the new information and treatment we have acquired here on the front lines. We have helped hundreds of patients to overcome it and return home to their families. Some days it is hard to see the bright side, but I have a strong belief in our power to heal. I believe in our power to overcome and rise up. At the peak, thousands of patients are being tested and treated here every day. One of these patients is a 70-year-old man. He was so critically ill that he was treated in the Corona Intensive Care Unit. He needed mechanical ventilation, dialysis, and several procedures and even surgeries. He gradually improved, and after 5 months in the intensive care unit, he was able to be discharged.
I want to thank you for your long-standing partnership and for your contribution. Know that you are playing a major role these days in our fight against the global pandemic.
We can't thank you enough for believing in us and in our ability to cure COVID-19 patients.
It gives us great pride to know that our project played a vital role in saving lives and treating COVID-19 patients. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now my extreme pleasure to introduce our next speaker, Israel's Minister of Defense and alternate Prime Minister Benny Gantz. Minister Gantz served honorably in the IDF for a remarkable 38 years. His commands included the Paratroopers Brigade, the Judea and Samaria Division, the Northern Command, and the GOC Army Headquarters. Minister Gantz helped lead IDF troops in Operation Moses and Operation Solomon, the covert Israeli military airlifts of Ethiopian Jews to Israel. As 20th Chief of Staff of the IDF, Minister Gantz led the IDF during 3 major campaigns: Pillar of Defense, Brother's Keeper, and Protective Edge. In 2019, Minister Gantz formed Israel's Blue and White Party, and recently, together with the Likud, established a national emergency unity government. Minister Benny Gantz has been a longtime friend of IAJF, and it is my distinct pleasure to have him join us from his office in Israel.
Thank you, Stephen, and thank you all for joining us tonight. The context this year is different, but it is still an opportunity for us to remember some important things, like how the story of our people and our ties to each other are about more than just this challenging moment. As always, challenge and opportunity come together. Challenges forces us to be creative, helping us change reality for the better. This has been true over our long history, and it is certainly true today. When I think about how you have made it goal in your life to bring your good intentions all the way to Israel, I cannot help but feel optimistic about the future. When I think about your support of Israel's IDF soldiers and the people you are in touch with throughout the Israeli society, it makes it just a little easier to see beyond the current challenges and remember the real strength of our people, the caring we feel for one another, the spirit of unity exemplified by your action year after year. I know that even with the distance between us, we remain connected, bound by a sense of purpose that keeps us strong inside and out. My friends, may we all enjoy good health and most importantly, continue to be source of strength and support for each other, no matter what comes. Thank you for who you are. Thank you for what you do. Am Yisrael Chai.
Thank you, Minister Gantz, for honoring us with your presence and your friendship. It has been a challenging year, and we wish you all the success in safeguarding Israel. My friends, it has certainly been a challenging year in more ways than one. I think we can all use a little laughter and a break from reality. Well, we have the perfect guy for the job. He took his sabbatical from the IAJF Gala the past 2 years. I guess he got tired of trying to pronounce all of our Persian names. Fortunately, we convinced him to come back virtually this year, and he said he's really looking forward to being back at Lincoln Center next year. Aren't we all? Ilan Gold has starred in numerous TV hit shows, including Fox's Stacked, NBC's In-Laws, and The Tonight Show. His routines have gone viral and are shared by millions around the globe. He has a 1-hour stand-up special on Netflix and is currently featured on HBO's Crashing, playing his most challenging role yet, himself. He can next be seen in the upcoming movie The Binge on Hulu. Ladies and gentlemen, from his home studio in Los Angeles, please welcome Ilan Gold.
He's back! Hey everybody, thank you so much for having me, and thank you, Stephen, for that sweet, nice introduction, and congratulations on the big new position. I mean, that's very good for Robert, who got out of it. How much did he pay you exactly, right? What was he like? Listen, I'll give you whatever you want. Just take over. I can't do this anymore. It's like you think running one shul is bad. This is like being the president of 100 shuls. I'll write you a check. Anything. Just do it. So mazel tov, Stephen, or I'm sorry. However you want to see it. Either way, I miss all of you. Stephen, Robert, Sharham, the whole crew. I miss everybody over there. I miss being on stage at Lincoln Center in front of 1,000 people. I'm standing here in my back office in front of a ring light. It's like ridiculous. Oh my God. But here I am broadcasting live from the capital of the Persian people, Westwood, California. Yes, and I got to say, ever since I did my first IAJF event, I am a hero. I am a hero in Westwood. Yeah, they're all very impressed by this. Yeah, they're all like, oh, you've worked for IAJF? How much they pay you? That's always the first question, and I'm always like, that's not important. Barely. It's more for the mitzvah. But I am so excited to be back here with IAJF, you know, and I wish I could be on stage saying, IAJF in the house, instead of being like, IAJF, you guys in your house? Yeah, I'm in my house, you're in your house. Listen, it is what it is. I mean, but let's make the best of it. This is an amazing program so far. I'm so honored to be a part of it. Is it Lincoln Center? No. Do we all miss the food? Yes. The food before the show. Personally, the food was better than the show. Always. The food was incredible. And I love Persian food. So every time, my first time I went to Lincoln Center, I was like, I'm doing this event. It's for this Persian community. I can't wait to eat the Persian food. And it was just like sushi and pastrami. And I'm like, where's the Persian food? What's with the sushi? Where's the gundi? I don't want sushi. There's like a Japanese guy. He's sitting there. He's like, rolling these spicy tuna rolls. And I'm like, you got any gourmet sabses? But anyway, listen, We got to make the best of it. We got to make the best of everything. This is an incredible program. We're here on a very cool platform. At least it's not Zoom, right? Because I'm so sick of Zoom. I've had it with Zoom. This is a better version, whatever you call. I'm done with Zoom. I can't. I miss Waze. I would rather Waze than Zoom. When did we go from Wazing everywhere to Zooming nowhere, right? We Zoom nowhere. And I knew this would happen where everything would be Zoom the second Pesach hit. And we had the Zoom Seder. Oh, you gotta love the Zoom Seder. It's the only Seder where you not only break the matzah, you break Yontif. Oh, I was supposed to be in Mexico on Pesach at a Pesach program. Instead, I was stuck in my house. Felt like a Pesach pogrom. I was like, is it safe to go out yet? No, just stay. So we're still in hiding. Yes, it's technically a lockdown, but yeah, it feels like hiding. It's awful. And I'll never forget on Purim, we all thought, okay, this is terrible, but it'll be over by Pesach, right? Then you're sitting there on Pesach and you're like, fine, we missed Pesach, but Shavuot, at least we'll celebrate. We'll go. It'll be great. And then Shavuot, it was still happening. And we're like, so I guess Yom Kippur is canceled, right? Oh, yeah, definitely. That's it. And it was Yom Kippur, Rosh Hashanah. I mean, it was kind of nice because I went for services in someone's backyard, but it was weird. The guy who was supposed to blow the shofar, he didn't even want to touch the shofar. He was like, has anybody breathed on this or coughed within 6 feet or sneezed? Because I don't know where this has been. I can't put my mouth. I can't. So you know what he did? He faked it. He pretended to blow the shofar. He just made the noise with his lips. He was standing there like, and he was like, what? I'm doing it. No, I'm doing it. Listen. See? It was crazy. Yom Kippur, also. Outside, backyard. I do have to say, though, it was about 2 hours in the morning. I got home by noon. Showed up again at 6. Took like a 5-hour nap. I thought to myself, maybe they don't need to rush this vaccine out just yet. You know, give it another like 12 months. I wouldn't mind just one more Yom Kippur like this. And then Sukkot, I love having guests. We have sometimes a dozen people, not this year. Oh my God, we had 2 people, guests, and everyone's freaked out and arguing, right? I'm sitting in the sukkah and I'm like, well, this is nice. And it's safe because, we're outside. And then one of my guests was like, well, no, we're actually inside. We're inside a sukkah. And I'm like, yeah, no, I know, but the sukkah is outside. I mean, we're in my backyard, so we're outside. Well, I don't know. I mean, your house is outside too. Okay, my house is outside, but it's not in my backyard. And when you go in my house, you're inside. Are you? Are you really inside? Yeah, you are inside. So what about the sukkah? Aren't we inside the sukkah? No, because the sukkah's outside. What about a tent? Well, a tent is outside. What if you bring the tent in the house? Well, then you're inside. Okay, how about igloos? No, all igloos are outside. What if you're inside the igloo? No, igloos are outside. Isn't everything outside, like buildings? All right, just shut up and pass the challah. That was how my Sukkot was. Everything is just crazy now. That's why it's an honor to be here with all of you, making you laugh. I don't hear laughs because you're all on mute, but I'm sensing laughter. I'm feeling it. I could feel the love, feel the laughs. And it's just very cool to be here. What a lineup that you have. I mean, okay, for me, and I've always been a huge fan of Benny Gantz. He's an Israeli hero, a war hero. He was the head of the IDF defense minister. Now this is if you think Stephen has a big job as the president of the IAJF, this is like a gigantic thing. Benny Gantz is now the alternate prime minister of Israel. How cool is that? Our homeland. I mean, I'm sure it bothers him a little bit that he's got to say alternate before prime minister, right? Like he's just got to put that disclaimer on, like, well, technically, full disclosure, I'm the alternate prime minister, right? Like he's too great of a man to have to say this. To have people come over to him and be like, so are you the prime minister? Well, we alternate. You know, sometimes it's him, sometimes it's me. So wait, are you the prime minister like right now? What's today? Now? It's Sunday? No, not today. I will be tomorrow. Tomorrow I have Mondays and Thursdays. Yeah, it's kind of like alternate side parking, where I have a few days, he has a few days. I'll be in effect tomorrow, and then again Thursday. Yeah, it's pretty cool. You know, it's pretty cool. It's you know what I'm saying. He deserves more. But we're excited to have him, and just before me, the ambassador. How cool was that? And for me, it's amazing because all I have to do is be funnier than the ambassador, which is like, you know, he's not a comedian, he's an ambassador. So I think I'm already fulfilling that. And look, this is what it is. We have to make the best of this. And as Jews, we do make the best of it. We make the best of everything. And it's not easy for us, this pandemic. The whole thing with the don't touch your face, that's all we do. That's all. We're always like, this is we say the Shema, we light the Shabbat candle. Everything is touching our face. Not easy for us. But if you think about it, this pandemic is easier for us than non-Jews. Let me explain. We're sort of used to laws and restrictions and regulations, and there's so many COVID restrictions. And whenever I hear about the COVID restrictions, I think, yeah, Jews have had these kind of restrictions for like a long time, right? Like, must have 10 or more, can't have 10 or more. Okay, so yeah, I get it. So the minyan, you must have the 10 people, and then for the COVID, you can't have 10. Okay, I got you must cover your head, you must cover your face. Okay, so I'll just sort of bring it down from here to, or I could do both. I could cover my head, I could cover my face, you must wash. Gotta always wash before you eat that sandwich. You better wash. And I'm like, are you kidding me? That's not a big adjustment. My people have been washing before sandwiches for thousands of years. We got this. Trust me. Don't eat pigs. Okay. Don't eat bats. Wait a minute. So now we shouldn't eat bats. Oh, no, do not. No. Can we shecht the bat? No. So there's no way to kosher a bat and eat it. No, you can't salt it. You can't drain the blood. Bats are treif. End of story. That's it. Shabbat starts at 7:01. The curfew begins at 10:01. And you're like, wait a minute. So if I'm sitting in an outdoor restaurant, I can't get COVID at 9:45, but I can get it at 10:45? Okay, makes sense. It's like it's all the restrictions. It's the same. Judaism, COVID, it's all the same, right? You must smell the besamim during Havdalah. Unless, of course, you have COVID and then you can't smell the besamim. It's all the same, but we'll get through it. We will be back there at Lincoln Center, God willing, next year, or even better, Jerusalem. I love you, IAJF. I love you all. My Persian people, I got to get back to some of my Persian neighbors. They're feeding me, and they don't have sushi. Believe me, they got the good stuff. I'll see you next time. Good night, everybody. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of the program.
Thank you, Elon. Hilarious as always, and high energy, but not as high energy as IAJF's Young Leadership Division. And the person who has been at the helm of the Young Leadership is none other than our own Chelsea Sassooni Shmueli. Madam President, thanks for coming out here tonight. We'll maintain social distances, but the floor is yours.
Thank you, Stephen. I'm honored to be here with you. Good evening. This has been quite a year for the Young Leadership Division of IAJF. It certainly started off quite differently than our new normal. In February, 140 young professionals attended our annual sold-out winter Shabbat dinner at Reserve Cut. Shortly thereafter, we sent our largest ever delegation to AIPAC. 67 young professionals came together in Washington to hear from American and Israeli leaders and to attend sessions, participate in exclusive events, and lobby local elected officials. As young leaders, we aim to direct the power of our shared voice to ensure that there will always be bipartisan support for Israel. While the lockdown started days after the delegation's return from AIPAC, our commitment to maintaining a young leadership community did not take pause. We found ways to make virtual connection fun and meaningful. This included events such as an Instagram Live conversation with our new esteemed leader, Stephen Kadavi, a challah bake, a workout with Israel's Ninja Brothers, a cooking class, and a speed dating event to bring people together during this unprecedented time. What we are most proud of during these last few months is the clear commitment of our Young Leadership Board members and the community we have cultivated. Perhaps no example is more salient than our most recent organizational announcement. For the first time ever, the Young Leadership Division is leading a capital campaign, setting the goal of raising $25,000 in support of Ale Negev, Nachlat Iran, a rehab village for severely mentally and physically challenged children and youth. We're very proud to have raised almost half of our campaign goal, which will sponsor the Therapeutic Cafe's annual activities. Our appeal to all of the young professionals out there is that there is no amount too small. In fact, more than 80% of the individual gifts towards the campaign have been under $150. Please help us meet and hopefully surpass our goal by contributing whatever amount you are able. The number to call or text us with a gift are below on your screen, or you can donate online. As we face the aftermath of the pandemic and the uncertainty that lies ahead, our support will have its greatest impact yet. Now, more than ever, we have a pressing responsibility to the generations before us, the communities that have shaped a better world for us and have been examples of tremendous generosity. It is the generation above us that began this tremendous federation. This is the power of community. Thank you all for your commitment to IAJF and our young leadership community. And to our staff professional, Tova Levine, and our national board liaison, Leah Cohen, a special thank you for your dedication and support of our efforts. And now, here's a taste of the work being done by Ale Negev, which reflects the true power of community and togetherness.
A community is a result of everything that has been planted by its members over the years. Here in the Negev Desert thrives the special village of Ale Negev, Nachlat Iran. It provides a home and holistic care to children and youth with severe disabilities. Without Ale, many of these children would be forced to spend their lives in hospitals with no opportunities for rehabilitation, education, or the warmth of a home. The seeds for this extraordinary place were planted by an inspiring military hero, Doron Almog.
Society's strengths will always be measured by the strengths of its weakest links. The more we do to empower them, the better and stronger our society will be. The village was founded for my son, Eran, the biggest teacher of my life, who, despite never saying one word his entire life, taught me how to care for the vulnerable and how to express love without words. We wanted to create a place of integration, understanding, and acceptance, where visitors and residents share a sense of community.
I'm Sarah from Georgia in the United States. I've been volunteering at the village for almost 2 months now. It's been truly a satisfying, heartwarming experience for me.
IAJF is part of Alain's success. I thank you for your recent contribution to the upcoming Neuro-Orthopedic Rehabilitation Hospital. We are excited that this year, your Young Leadership Division has decided to support the village special cafeteria.
Near the cafeteria offers disabled people with experience and employment opportunities. It is also a central place of connection for everyone, a community hub.
I would like to extend my warmest wishes to all of you in the Iranian Jewish community in New York. I also commend you for the wonderful younger generation which you have raised, a generation of leaders that understand the power of community and the meaning of the word together. We will always stay strong. Thank you.
Every time we give, a story begins. We can never know exactly where it will lead because the rippling effects of one simple act are immeasurable. What we do know is that by this power, even when apart, we are united and stronger. Even in the face of a global pandemic, nothing compares to the power of giving.
What a beautiful cause chosen by our young professionals. Allah Negev is dear to all of our hearts. Thank you, Chelsea. You and the Young Leadership Division make us proud and give us hope for the future. Bravo. Ladies and gentlemen, Kathy Hochul currently serves as Lieutenant Governor of New York State, a role she has held since 2015. She is the highest-ranking female elected official in New York State. She was kind enough to record a message for our gala.
Good evening. I'm New York State Lieutenant Governor Kathy Hochul. Thank you for inviting me to participate at the Iranian American Jewish Federation of New York Gala. This is always such a wonderful celebration of the great work you do throughout the year. Governor Cuomo and I are always proud to stand strong with the Jewish people from New York to Israel, especially in the face of rising anti-Semitism that has sadly been made worse by the COVID-19 pandemic. Here in New York and in Israel, an attack on one of us is an attack on all of us. We have a special responsibility here as home to more Jewish individuals outside of Israel than anywhere else. We're also proud to be home to one of the strongest Iranian American communities in the world. At IAJF, you have taken the responsibility of caring for Jewish people all across boundaries. While you've dedicated much of your philanthropy to education, hospitals, aiding victims of terror, and fighting hunger in the state of Israel, Governor Cuomo and I thank you for shifting your efforts to those in need locally when the COVID-19 crisis hit New York. New York had the highest infection rates in the nation, but we came together and flattened the curve by wearing masks, social distancing, and looking out for our neighbors. Today, our state has one of the lowest infection rates in the nation, and you certainly did your part. The IAJF Community Response and the Tikva program purchased groceries for families and provided meals for Passover and Shabbat, and delivered hundreds of meals to local hospitals to feed our frontline heroes at the height of the crisis. You also kept New Yorkers safe by distributing thousands of masks. So on behalf of the entire state of New York, we are so very grateful. Thank you for the opportunity to join you today and for the incredible work you do for New Yorkers and Iranian Jewish people all over the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Lieutenant Governor Hochul, for joining us and for your words of support. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very excited about our next performer. Liraz Chari is an actress and singer-songwriter based in Israel. You may recognize her as the Mossad agent in the hit series Tehran. Liraz was nominated for Best Actress by the Israeli Film Academy in 2004. She has starred in musicals, Israeli and international movies, and television shows. In recent years, Liraz has been singing in her parents' native Farsi, combining modern sounds and beats with the ethnic flavors of her Persian roots. In September, Liraz released her brand new single Inja, alongside a music video off her forthcoming second album Zan, which means women in Farsi, which was released in November. What is incredibly special about this latest album is that it was a labor of love for Liraz. I know we all take pride in not only seeing on screen someone who shares our background, but knowing that her artistry connects countries and cultures and breaks down walls. It's with great pleasure to welcome, directly from the old city of Jaffa, Liraz Chari to share with us her story and a very special piece of music.
Good evening. Thank you, Stephen, and thank you for the opportunity of being here with you tonight. Thank you, members of IAJF. We are here in Old Jaffa, Tel Aviv. As a lead actress in Tehran TV series and as a singer-songwriter who chose to sing in my mother tongue, I had the privilege to accomplish my childhood dream to be in Iran. This role brought me even closer to my Iranian roots. I had to act the story of Yael Kadosh, a Mossad agent with a very complex character, like my own personal life and like the way I grew up. We both grew up confused, being raised in two cultures, with one big question I was always obsessed with. Who am I? Am I Iranian or am I Israeli? I remember a very special day while shooting my Tehran TV series with my fellow Iranian actors from all over the world who were exiled from Iran. It was cold, and we all gathered in the artist room trying to stay warm. I felt like we are near a fire camp, and I actually started to sing one of the most beautiful Iranian songs that I love. Everyone started singing together. Even the director had to stop shooting and join us. It was a beautiful and memorable moment for all of us. We literally felt like we are one big family. Iran is neither mine nor my parents anymore, yet I know exactly how to describe its beautiful places, smells, and colors. My hard choice to sing my heritage is a symbol of struggle against the suppression of the woman we embody. I'm singing because of my muted grandmothers, because of the muted women in Iran, with them and for them. The fact that I choose to sing and to accomplish my biggest dream, writing an album with musicians from Iran, is the answer to my longing to Iran, the home that I have never seen. Both Iranian and Israeli artists tell stories of our two complex yet beautiful countries through our arts. It is a great opportunity for me to be here with you tonight and to thank you for your positive contribution to the world. I'm truly honored to be a part of this beautiful, beautiful evening. I'm going to sing one of my favorite Iranian songs called Mahtab, the same song we sang by the fire camp. Like the role of the lady who sings the song, not losing her patience, waiting to her love until moonlight. I will never lose hope and patience about Iran. And of course, will always sing my heritage to the Iranian women who should be free to sing, dance, and rejoice. I believe in the power of art, aiming to bring hope, joy, strength, and to unite us all, especially during these fragile times. This is what IAJF is all about. Sammy's music, you have touched the hearts of so many people. I may be far, but the music brings us closer. This is my way to thank the Iranian Jewish community and hopefully to reach everyone's heart. I want to introduce my beautiful artists on stage, musicians. On the keyboard, Yael Salinger. And on the guitar, Mr. Uri Brauner Kinrot. Mahtab.
تو خورشید منی منظره محتاج نورم بیا گرمی بده به جون من اگر چه دورم فقط یه روز تو جدا میشم که توی گورم میدونی قلبم آروم نداره تو سینه من یه بیقراره زنجیر و واکن زبا دیوونه من چشم انتظارم بیا به خونه من به دیدن من بیا مهتب در اومد بیا عزیزم بیا صبرم سر اومد به دیدن من بیا مهتب در اومد بیا عزیزم بیا صبرم سر اومد بیا عزیزم بیا صبرم سر اومد بیا عزیزم بیا صبرم سر اومد
Thank you. תודה. مرسی. بدرود.
Thank you, Liraz, for giving us a taste of your experience, creativity, and vision. Your performance took us through a journey in time, connecting us to our roots and heritage. We look forward to hearing your new album and hopefully enjoying a live show in the near future. Ladies and gentlemen, I know it was a long program, and I thank you for sticking with us to the end as we celebrated the power of giving together. Our work would not be possible without your generous support. May the coming year be a better one, a year of good health and prosperity for us all. We look forward to the days when we can once again be together as a community, and we hope to celebrate in person next year in Lincoln Center when IAJF hits its milestone 20th anniversary. May God bless the United States of America and the State of Israel. Good night.